I think you just need to know like nothing comes easy, right? Life is hard. This is also going to be hard, and I think it's just important to know that everybody's in the same boat as you. Like, it's not just yourself that's getting rejections. Tons and tons of people are also in the exact same boat as you. They're facing rejections, they're not able to get anything. And I think it's just important to push through because eventually something good will happen.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into Career Hack, a podcast dedicated to assisting college students and early career professionals with entering the workforce and ascending the corporate ladder. I'm Brandon Amoroso, co-founder of Apex, which is a scaleless company that sends over 30 internships a day to college students and early career professionals who are looking to jumpstart their professional career. Today I'm talking with Nikita Chepuri, who's an incoming full-time product manager at Microsoft. Thanks for coming on the show.
Of course, happy to be here.
So before we jump into things here, can you give everybody just a quick background about
Yeah,
yourself and so some of the things you've been doing with helping Gen Z, navigate the job market?
yeah, definitely. So a little bit about me. My name is Nikita, and I'm an incoming PM at Microsoft on the Azure Storage team. I'm also a content creator on LinkedIn where I post tips, tricks, and job postings to help Gen Z navigate the job market. It's really difficult out there, so I'm just trying to do my best to help as many people as I can.
You mentioned that it's difficult. What were some of the biggest, challenges that you had, not only, getting some of your internships, but also, transitioning from getting those internships, but into an actual full-time offer?
Well, right now, I think the tech market is super saturated. There's tons of people getting into this field. There's also very, very little job opportunities right now. So I think a ton of people are just struggling, being able to just find something or even get interviews. I was really lucky. I ended up getting a internship last summer at Microsoft, and that converted to full time. So I'll be an incoming PM then. But I got really lucky with that opportunity, and I'm just trying to, help people in their journey so they can also get the same opportunities I got.
What are some of the things that you would attribute to getting that initial opportunity, the internship at Microsoft?
Yeah, well, just applying, I mass applied. People right now are just applying to 10, 15 jobs, but I think in this market you have to apply to like 200 plus. So I applied to over 200 jobs. I networked a ton, tried to connect with as many people as I could, reached out to tons of people on LinkedIn. I used my entire network, as many people as I could connect with, just reaching out, asking for advice, using coffee chats, just any means to get my face out there. During the interview process, I guess what I did was just I created a document for myself and I wrote down every single question they could possibly ask me and then I would write my answers for that question. And I think that really helped me during my interview. I also did a lot of mock interviews. I worked with tons of people, talked to a lot of people who were PMs at Microsoft, just trying to get as much advice as I could. And I think all of that really, really helped me.
Yeah, I think the sheer number of applications that you have to put out there is just increasing more and more as the market gets more and more crowded. And in an ideal world you'd be able to submit those 5 or 10 applications to the perfect roles, but that's just not the way that the market is currently set up. And especially when everybody else is also incentivized to submit that many applications, you can imagine just how many uh, you know applicants a recruiter has to go through for any of these given positions. And some of it
Yes.
is a little bit of a luck of the draw as well. And it's a little bit like applying to college in one sense. You sort of throw your application over the transom and then it's a little bit of a black box in terms of what happens to it after that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just in one, Meta has a RPM program, Rotational Product Manager, and I think their acceptance rate is less than 1%. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I think it is, and that's just crazy. That's less than Harvard and some of these top schools.
Yeah, and I think it's only going to get more and more extreme, as
Yes.
AI is also helping one position be able to do the work of what maybe it used to take two or three positions. And um, how have you leveraged actually AI in the application process? Were you doing things like cover letter generation and assistance and stuff like that? Because I find it fascinating that businesses want people who are able to utilize AI, but at the same time, they don't want the applications to be too AI heavy. They want to see you are actually able to do some of these things too. So, how have you leveraged AI in this process?
Yeah, I think it's a great tool like ChatGPT, for example. What I would do is I would put my resume through ChatGPT and see what it says. Like, am I meeting what does a product manager need? Like, is ChatGPT pointing out those keywords in my resume? I would use that to help me with that. I would also use it, to help me like draft a little bit of a cover letter so I can, make my own tweaks, but use it as like a little baseline, but definitely it has helped me a lot, makes things a lot easier, and definitely has helped me like understand has my resume or my cover letter like meets that criteria.
Most of the networking you mentioned you were doing, was that in person or was that virtual or a mix of both?
My networking was all virtual, all a lot through LinkedIn, some through personal family connections, but mostly just reaching out to people on LinkedIn, building up my connections every single day. I think LinkedIn allows you to connect with over 100 people a week. So I would send out connections to people at the companies I want to work with, like Apple, Google, Microsoft. I would see PMs and I would connect with them and I would try to send them messages. Sometimes they don't respond, sometimes they do, but when they would, I would get great opportunities to meet with them, have coffee chats, just get their advice, and just learn more about them and how they
Mhm.
got where they are.
Yeah, I found when building my first company that people were much more receptive to my outreach when I was still a college student than after. Because as a
Yes,
college student, you seem a little bit, less threatening. You don't have something to sell this person necessarily, and you really are just looking more so for advice and mentorship. So I think college really is the best time to be able to start building that professional network in a way that you're able to get some of these communication lines open that probably would not be responded to, after you've left school.
yeah, absolutely. As a content creator on LinkedIn, I get a ton of messages asking for help. And a lot of them are college students. And I try to help as many people as I can because, I went through the exact same experiences. So I know what it's like and I know what it's like to struggle. So I want to help as many people as I can.
I think the struggle is something that people need to understand is just inherent to the process. If you're looking for that quick fix or that magic pill that's somehow going to get you a product manager role at Microsoft, that is super, it could not be further from reality, as you mentioned, with, having to apply to hundreds of open roles, with having to do all this networking. And so I think it's important for people to understand that they do need to put in quite a lot of effort to be able to get into these roles. And I'm sure you went through how it could be a little bit demotivating when you're sending so many applications and you're probably not even hearing back from a lot of them.
Exactly. Like I think you just need to know like nothing comes easy, right? Life is hard. This is also going to be hard, and I think it's just important to know that everybody's in the same boat as you. Like it's not just yourself that's getting rejections. Tons and tons of people are also in the exact same boat as you. They're facing rejections. They're not able to get anything, and I think it's just important to push through because eventually something good will happen.
Yeah, definitely. Well, transitioning from your actual like application process into, now you've landed the internship, and how long was the internship for? Was it
The
like three, four
internship was
months?
12 weeks. 12 weeks.
12 weeks? Okay. So during that 12-week process, what were some of the things you were focused on, or what do you think made you stand out to actually get that full-time role versus some of your other, colleagues who most likely did not get extended offers? Because I know this is a big thing at a lot of companies where they'll have the internship programs and then they really serve as an on-ramp to full-time employment. And so how
Mhm.
can students who do get that internship, sort of maximize that opportunity to in the hopes that it'll eventually lead to a full-time offer?
Yeah, so during the first week of my internship, me and my manager set out four main projects for me to work on, and those four projects were to be finished by the end of the 12 weeks. We would also, meet weekly to check in my status and how I was doing. And we would also have checkpoints, a mid checkpoint and an end checkpoint, just to see how I was, if I was on track or if I was behind or not. And every couple weeks, I would, check in with my manager. Hey, how am I doing? Do you have any feedback for me? Is there anything I can improve on? I think having those conversations often really showed my manager that I was interested in that full time position and that I was ready to take feedback and learn from my mistakes. And I think that really helped me, get that full time offer. And I was always, letting him know, hey, like I would love to come back full time. I love this team. I love the work that I'm doing. And not just telling that to him, but I would meet with my skip manager, which is my manager's manager, and having a conversation with him, letting him know all the work that I've been doing, that I'm super interested in coming back, really helped as well. And, connecting with a lot of members on the team. What I did is in the first few weeks of my internship, I would try to sit down and have a coffee chat, I guess, with everybody on my team, even extended team, just 15 minutes. Hey, what do you do here? What's your role like? How long have you been here? I think just putting your face out there really helps a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask. The worst thing is that they say no. Um,
Absolutely, yes.
what do you think you would have done though if the internship program didn't turn out to be what you thought it was going to be? Let's hypothesize that for some reason you couldn't stand Microsoft, or you couldn't stand product management. You're like, I'm done with this product management stuff. I'm gonna move on to something else. Do you think that it is possible, for students who have that internship towards the end of their college career, for them to not move forward with that particular company or in that particular role and sort of transition into some other type of full-time employment? Or do you think you really need to find one of these internship programs that funnels into full-time employment with the company that you did intern at?
Well, I definitely think it's important to find something that you like and then stick with it. But say you don't like it, your Microsoft did a great job being in touch. I was in touch with the recruiter throughout the whole process, and the recruiter did mention, hey, if you don't like what you're doing, you don't like the field you're in, you can switch next year. If you want to come back, you're more than welcome to apply to a software role or a UI UX design role, and we can see from there. So they were great with that. I love product management. I definitely this is the field for me. So I was very happy with where I was. But even if you don't like the company you were working for, as an intern, I got to make so many connections with so many interns who previously worked at Google, Apple, Amazon, tons of other companies where you could, use your networking abilities to get internships in other places.
How when you were going through and thinking about what it is that you wanted to do post grad, like how did you end up in product management? So like imagine you're a student now and you have no idea what you want to do. How what did that process look like for you, and what would you recommend to other students who are trying to figure out what it is they actually want to do?
Yeah, definitely. So, right out of high school, I thought for my whole life I want to go into law. Law is my thing. And there was a high school internship at T Mobile. And I applied and I got in and I decided, hey, this is something fun to do over summer. And it was in product management. So I went through that summer as a PM intern and I think I loved it. I loved my experience. I loved what I worked on. I've always wanted to do something in tech but not technical. I'm not a coder, but I've always wanted to be in this space. So I thought product management was the best balance for me. And after my high school internship, I got to stay on full time for a few years. And, it just built like a love for it and some understanding, and I really enjoyed it.
No, that's awesome that you sort of fell into it. And I think you learn by experience, and so it was
Yes,
very
absolutely.
important that you got that early internship. And uh, I think that's the best way for anybody to figure out what it is they actually want to be doing, is to just get out there and expose themselves to a bunch of different things. And maybe it ends up being the first internship you get, like in your case, and you just fall in love with it, or maybe it's the third or the fourth. But I think people's careers evolve very quickly now in a way that they maybe didn't 20 or 30 years ago. And also the companies that they're at. I mean, rarely do you see on resumes anybody at a business for longer than 5 years anymore, whereas that used to be the norm. And so people just have to be adaptable and flexible across a variety of different skill sets. to really stand out
Yeah,
and separate themselves from the rest.
yeah, I would say take every opportunity you're given because there's always people who aren't given those opportunities, and you never know what you might like. Like I said, I wanted to do law for my whole life, but I ended up in PM.
And now I bet you could barely imagine possibly being in law school right now versus being an incoming product manager at Microsoft.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I could ever do that now.
That's I remember buying the like prep book for the GMAT, which is what you take to get into business school, and I think I made it through 2 pages before I decided that I was going to have to make this business thing work out in the real world because there was not a chance in hell I was going to like relearn geometry or some of these things, and that was just sort of a forcing function into get out there and start doing stuff.
Absolutely.
So just one last question for you. Are there any tips or tricks or things that you would tell your younger self when looking at the internship application process and getting that first full-time role?
Yeah, definitely. I know so much now than I wish I knew when I was younger. Network a lot. LinkedIn is a great tool, and a lot of people do not use it. And you should build your connections, connect with as many people as possible. There are Discord channels, Slack channels for internships and job postings that I had no idea about till this year, which is such a great tool for you to connect with other interns and other like minded individuals who are job searching. Use those to your advantage. Use your network. If you have people in your family who are working in tech, use it to your advantage. Use that, use LinkedIn, just network as much as possible. And I wish I did that when I was younger, and who knows where I would have been
I think the sooner you get better, or the sooner you get started, the better.
now.
And it all
Absolutely.
adds up over time. And every person you connect with then has connections that they could potentially introduce you to. I think the biggest unlock for me was just asking that simple question after having an intro meeting with somebody. Is there anybody else that you think would be worthwhile for me to meet with? And that would often lead to anywhere between 2 to 5 more connections. And so then these all start to stack up upon each other. And especially when you're in college and you really are just looking for support, people are extremely responsive and willing to help out.
Exactly. I used to be embarrassed to ask those questions and to meet with people. And I realized, you shouldn't be embarrassed because this is your time to network. This is your time to meet so many people. And if you're in college and high school, people want to meet you, they want to help you out. So, my biggest thing is to not be embarrassed and to just take that leap forward and ask.
Yeah, people love having a mentor, um, or a mentee rather, somebody that they can take under their wing and help and support. So why not lean into it and take advantage of it and then pay it off on the backside as well to younger people coming up as well. So before we hop, can you let everybody know where they could connect with you online if they wanted to learn more or get access to some of your resources around this whole
Yeah,
process?
you can follow me on LinkedIn. It is my first name underscore my last name. And I post tons of job postings, tips, tricks, like anything that helped me and that might help you in the job search.
Awesome. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on and sharing all of your insights. For everybody listening, as always, this is Brandon Amoroso. You can find us at scalus.ai and apexearlycareers.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.